I've never seen such support on a decision before. Truckers, everybody, they're saying we're not going to deal in New York. People are leaving New York. I've never seen support like this.
New York was already a loser state.
New York really stepped in it this time. Following the $350 million fraud ruling against Trump, truckers have announced that they will be boycotting.
Emptiness tonight in the truck stop. Trucker strike tomorrow, New York, good luck.
New York, New York, New York. Fucking with Trump. Fucking with Trump. Now the truckers ain't trying to deliver y'all produce, y'all goods for 3 years. If you in New York, you better get up out of there. I think groceries are high now. Y'all better respect Trump's gangster, and y'all better respect that MAGA crowd.
Loads delivered to the city. Now, I don't know exactly how big that could get. Maybe it's 10 truckers, maybe it's more. But considering the political leanings of many in the trucking profession, seems likely that this will have some kind of impact on New York City. We all remember the Freedom Convoy, the Freedom Truckers in Canada. The government was so shocked by what they were doing, they started freezing bank accounts and stealing money. And then, of course, there's the Colorado truckers boycott, where a man was sentenced to 110 years in prison after his brakes failed. A bunch of people who drive trucks said we're not going in that state. And then they were forced to reduce the sentence to 10 years. Now, I do want to talk about that case because it's pretty wild. But what we see here is that truckers are somewhat of an organized group. They lean pretty right, not completely. This may have a tremendous impact. But for those that aren't following exactly why this is happening, this has to do with Donald Trump's fraud ruling. And I'll give you the gist of that so you can understand. Donald Trump was accused of fraud by New York. They argued that he artificially inflated the value of his assets in order to secure better loans, more money. Yes, that's literally what all people do all the time, everywhere. It's not a crime. It's not fraud. It is normal. Seriously. Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary, I looked it up. I guess his net worth is the tune of $500 million. He's not quite a billionaire, but he's a very wealthy guy, says this is insane. You're going to have to prosecute. You're going to have to go after every single real estate developer everywhere. So it's not just that truckers are boycotting, but Kathy Hochul of New York is begging developers like, please, please, everything's fine. You have nothing to worry about. Why? Because anyone who works in real estate is now going, holy crap, we are all guilty of fraud, and they are going to strip and steal our assets. Good luck, New York. Now, of course, if you're a regime ally or puppet, you probably have nothing to worry about, but this is the way the country is shifting. That is, if you're a regular old real estate developer, you're going to avoid New York. But if you're a Nazi, you're going to want to build in New York. And why do I say Nazi? Well, first, let's start with the gist of the claims against Donald Trump. Not only did they try to criminalize, or they're calling it a civil fraud thing, a standard business practice, Trump was not even given an opportunity to defend himself. That's correct. The judge in the case banged the gavel and said, summary judgment. I don't need to see anything. There does not need to be a trial. Trump is guilty.
I would never invest in New York now, and I'm not the only person saying that.
Good morning, Patriots. This is Trucker Jake. There's talk of a trucker boycott of the city of New York to protest the persecution of President Trump. Now, liberals seem to think that this is a pretty funny idea. Let me tell you a quick story. A couple years ago, a Colorado trucker was involved in a terrible accident, loss of life. It was tragic. The Colorado judge sentenced that trucker to 110 years in prison. Now, you decide for yourself whether or not he deserved that prison sentence, but when truck drivers from around America heard about that sentence, they organized a boycott against the state of Colorado. And within a month, they brought the state of Colorado to its knees. That judge resentenced that trucker from 110 years to 10 years in prison. The point is, MAGA patriots make this country run. Liberals, they make our coffee. This is Trucker Jake. God bless President Trump. God bless MAGA America.
Deliver my damn thing.
Truckers, do you actually think you're irreplaceable? Like, this is capitalist America. You think that corporations are going to sit idly by while you boycott New York and affect their bottom line? No way. They will always find somebody else to do your job if you won't do it. Maybe even an immigrant. Oh no! So go ahead and protest. There's always somebody else waiting in the wings for your job.
The Supreme Court's going to overturn this. You're going to have to preserve your federal claim here below. So you're going to have to say we have a constitutional claim here against this excessive fine. And so there are constitutional hurdles you're going to have to cross. Are you going to expect the Supreme Court would interfere in a state court decision?
I've never seen such support on a decision before. Truckers, everybody, they're saying we're not going to deal in New York. People are leaving New York. I've never seen support like this. I think there's a lot of pressure on the court system of New York to do what's right. You borrow a small amount of money by comparison. You pay it back. The bank is in love with you. And by the way, this is a time, and a lot of the audience says, no, banks are doing very badly with commercial loans. They're not getting their money back. They're in default, everything. This was a perfect loan. I did a favor to this bank. I borrowed money. I paid it back. It was already done. Just 1 second. I pay it back. And then this guy uses this. It was just a weapon. They come after me and they charge me many times the money that you're talking about. $355 million fine for a perfect loan. Where the bank was happy, the insurance companies, everybody's happy. And even he, in his statement, he said Trump did nothing wrong.
Said he didn't have any contrition.
New York. So I'm going to Oklahoma, North Dakota, West Virginia. Governor Stitt, Kevin Stitt, my staff have met with him. Governor Bergen, the same thing. Governor Justice. Those are winner states. They don't do things like this.
I can choose where I go, and I'm going to Georgia instead.
So are you hearing this from a lot of, because I've had one truck driver call in today and say I was excited to listen to the show today because I wanted to hear if it was just me and just a handful of people or if this is a big deal.
Well, I hadn't heard about the boycott until you mentioned it.
Really?
I personally, made that decision when I heard the announcement last week. But it's not right.
No, it's not right. It's not right. And this, I think, is the kind of thing that Martin Luther King would have done. This is a peaceful protest. It's all of the individuals choosing for themselves. I'm not going to support that kind of activity and not doing it. I commend you for it. I'm interested to see how this works out. I mean, this is a group of people that can make a huge difference. And we as a population, they know we don't ever do anything. The minute a state says, no, boys have to go to boys' bathrooms, girls go to girls' bathrooms, which is completely common sense, they go crazy, they boycott the state. It usually has no effect. Truckers, however, can do that. And it will make a difference because it's already hard to move goods. And if you're not, especially in Manhattan, there's only 10 roads in, 10. And you're a trucker, you have to go between, I think it's 11 p.m. or midnight to 5 a.m. And if you're a trucker and you've not driven in New York City, it's going to be a nightmare. But sending the message, hey, return to the rule of law. We don't hunt people. We don't find a person and then find the crime. If there's a crime, so be it. But we don't do it based on who you are.
So yesterday I make a video about New York truckers that are boycotting going into the city, going into parts of New York. And the video takes off and gets about 500,000 views. And I'm like, oh, that's it. That's not it. It keeps gaining momentum and gaining momentum. Take a look at this.
Trucker strike tomorrow, New York, good luck.
So now you got truckers all around New York sending in videos of empty truck stops.
Yeah, I think groceries are high now. Y'all better respect Trump's gangster.
And so this was my point yesterday. It's not like that all of them have to stop, or even 50%. Just a small fractional percentage of these guys say, hey, we're not going there, and that's going to affect everyone.
It
you in New York, you won't be receiving anything from these drivers.
And I'll just tell you right now, this thing has gained enough of momentum that if you're in New York, you're going to feel this. One way or another, I promise you, it's going to affect you. Which begs the next point, right? The next question, why don't they just do this in D.C.? Why don't they do it in Chicago, Baltimore, Pennsylvania? All of these blue cities that are so against Trump, why don't the truckers just shut them down? Just stop going there. Just stop hauling, right? And you're in the heart of these culture wars. You cannot deny that we're not in the heart of these culture wars. Take a look at Bud Light, take a look at Target, take a look at Nike, take a look at Disney online. You know, these downloads are down, 4 million subscribers? Here's a culture war quick reminder right here. Anheuser-Busch plunged 25.9% during the weekend of July 29. Bud Light's parent company has taken a hit of $400 million since its backlash. Disney Plus loses 4 million subscribers. Disney stock over the last 2 years down 41.35. And so here we are, America, 2024, in the middle of these culture wars. So how far is this going to go? Because for me personally, I think this is just getting started. And the next thing they're going to do, they're going to start targeting all these major cities, and we'll just get into a culture war with each other, and then we'll just stop supplying. You see where we're going with this? And before you say it'll never work, worked in France with those farmers, didn't it? And please don't think I'm some redneck from Texas telling you how it is. I lived in Hell's Kitchen for a very long time. Took the 19 to the 23 to Wall Street every single day. My sisters and I had a meeting. We got my mother out of that city 3 years ago when it got really violent to ride those subways. And this culture war just continues to grow. My entire neighborhood in Texas filled with New Yorkers and Californians.
I have to syndicate that debt and all that equity. We're talking billions of dollars here. Do you think any foreign institution or any private equity firm or any pension fund would touch New York? No. And that's why New Yorkers should be concerned. The fine people of New York should ask themselves, why are we such a loser state? How are we going to attract business? It's not just the existing businesses that are fleeing out to Texas and Florida. What about new money like this that I'm talking about, like a $4 billion data center? Not a chance I would put that in New York. Zero probability, never. And so they've got a lot of work to do to find themselves getting out of this situation. This has all occurred post-pandemic. Winner states versus loser states. Look at Tennessee right now, fastest growing city in America, Nashville. Winner state, good policy, competitive taxes. You've got to start thinking about this in the context of winners and losers. New York, mega loser state.
New York City has ruled against Trump, his family, and business organizations. As a result, this has now created a firestorm on both sides of the issue. Truckers for Trump have vowed to boycott New York City. They would no longer deliver food, goods, and other commodities in the state. And this might affect other states as well. While one group has the right to protest, the other group will use this situation to perpetuate a food shortage and even a crisis. People in New York are being told to move out, to stock up, and to store up on food and other resources. In light of all of this, I want you all to focus on this fact that Satan will use the access to food and other resources as a weapon in these last days, as we are marching onward to the mark of the beast crisis. See Matthew chapter 4, verse 1 through verse 4, verse 8 through verse 10, and Revelation chapter 13, verse 15 through verse 17.